Hello everyone. Long time no see. So yeah, new video, new blog post about Microsoft Fabric with the famous Dynamics 365 transformation. But as usual now with all my latest article, blog or whatsoever, it's always one Dynamics, one platform. So of course I will focus my video demonstration, and my article was also more dedicated about transformation, the famous ERP, but also, yes, of course, it will work exactly the same for Dataverse, CRM, CE, whatever the name you can have now with Power Platform. But so the configuration, all things that we explain right now, is completely quite the same, in fact, considering the Fabric link. So I think Microsoft Fabric is now released for almost more than a year. Yeah, I think, yes. So, but also we have another option, in which I already done an article about that 2 years ago almost, is Synapse Link with Dataverse. So of course I will not cover it right now because this is still in place, still possible to use this option, of course. But yeah, Fabric is now another option. So globally at the end, to make a quick summary, you have two options right now. To export your data of finance operation dynamics into Delta Lake format in Parquet files, into a Fabric capacity, or a Synapse Link in your own Azure subscription. So you have those two options if you like. Okay. So here we will focus only on Fabric, the Fabric option, the Fabric link. So yeah, as usual with me, let me share my screen. Yeah, perfect. So, of course, I have made an article right now. If I, as usual, so you have a Fabric with Dynamics 365 transformation. So you have normally, I guess, I hope so for you, everything needed to set up it, configure it, and use it for your for POC, for proof of concept, or for test purpose, or I guess I hope for you also for production and testing. But yeah, normally I cover it, everything you need to know globally to start it. The global starter kit, of course, I didn't provide everything you need to know for Fabric. So even at the beginning, I think, of my article, I explained that, of course, I'm not a Fabric expert, okay? I'm not a data platform MPP. I'm mostly on BizApps stuff, BizApps MPP. So yeah, I know that sometimes it's complex because of course you will need, I hope so for you, and you will need some data platform expert for when you will need really to use Fabric as a whole, and globally for your as a customer, for your tenant. Okay, because yeah, I don't have time and it's not my expertise to really cover what is Fabric, what do you have in Fabric, etc. So I try at the introduction or summary at the beginning to explain here what is the differences you have with Power BI, what you have in Fabric, etc. But globally, before starting to set up it with you in this demonstration, if I make a quick summary, yeah, is globally before Fabric existing, you had only possibility to use it with Azure, globally with Azure resources, okay, in your own subscription. So using Azure Data Factory, Azure Synapse, etc., Data Warehouse, Azure Machine Learning with Data Science, etc., and Power BI at the end for the data visualization. Of course, all of that was on top of the data lake, okay, which is a storage account in Azure. Now you have OneLake with Fabric, and globally the goal of Microsoft was to use and release a software as a service platform, so like Dynamics, in fact, or Power Platform, and to use a global data platform as a whole in the same place for all, let's say, capabilities you need to have for data platform. So integration, analytics, AI now, because yeah, that's a famous part now, AI. And data warehouse, etc. Ad hoc query, Python, notebook, blah, blah, blah. Okay, everything in one place. Okay, and as a software as a service. So of course, you don't need to provide and to provision any Azure resources. That's the main global differences you have globally. And at the end, yes, you need to do BI stuff. So of course you still have and need Power BI with Fabric. Okay, so Power BI is still a thing. Okay. And as I said before, you still have those two options. So depending on the cost, the budget you have, the data you have, the need you need, the requirements you have, it will also, let's say, to have the ability to choose the right product for you. Okay, that's the main purpose of data architect for you, to choose between all those two, what you will need globally and what you will have globally. Because Fabric also, the starting cost is mostly 5,000 per month. So yeah, quite high cost. I know a lot of customer, Dynamics 365 customer, Dataverse for platform, and of course even finance operation, they don't have this kind of budget to build a Pro Data platform. So it really depends on what you want at the end. You can start with Synapse Link, with Power BI, and at the end maybe do a transition to Fabric when you will be ready to switch to that. Okay, but at the end you need to have like a comparison between budget, because Fabric, I think, starting at F64, you don't really need Power BI Pro licenses to all readers, all people that will read your reports. Okay, normally, of course, with Synapse Link plus Power BI, you need Power BI Pro or even Power BI Premium per user to just, of course, to build reports, but also when people just need to read and have access to all your reports you have deployed to Workspace. Here in Fabric, starting at F64, you just buy the capacity for your wall tenant. You can buy several capacity, one for production and a smallest one maybe for testing and dev purpose, but that's it. And you don't have any Azure extra cost for that. Okay. Of course, here with the Fabric Link with Dynamics 365, you need to know that, of course, that's maybe a shame. Maybe Microsoft will change at the end, but you have some kind of storage into Fabric. Okay, so the cost is quite low for that. But you have also OneLake. It's where you will store all your packet files when you will extract and say, okay, I want to extract one table from finance operation into my Fabric capacity. So for that, they will use Dataverse storage, the famous Dataverse storage in PPAC, in Power Platform in Center, in which you sometimes have, the cost is quite high. In fact, it's mostly $40 per month per gigabyte. So of course, hopefully, the good part of that is, of course, they use the packet files. So packet files are highly compressed files into your OneLake. So the storage will be, I will make a quick, I didn't have the good report for you, but I will update my article very soon to just give you some insight about one customer I have with Fabric, in which they have several very large volume of data into finance operation, and what is the target storage in Fabric in OneLake for this kind of table globally. Okay, so I don't know, but if I have one table in finance operation, which is 100 gigabytes, what is the packet? What is approximately the target in Fabric Link in OneLake for your Dataverse storage? So yeah, because I know that a lot of finance operation customers, sometimes they are already in overusage of FNO part storage in PPAC, but also in Dataverse also. So yeah, you have to take that into account. Okay, so of course you will have that into that. Yeah, as explained. So you have your Dataverse storage here and your finance operation storage here. So of course, finance operation, that's it. You don't need to take that into account for Fabric Link, but your OneLake will be using this part. Okay, which in my case, I have my own tenant as MVP. I have 20 licenses, something like that, finance operation. So that's why I have this kind of entitlement for free capacity I can use for my FNO databases for all my environments, but also my database size, which, as you can see, is not very high. It's depending also on which kind of environment you will deploy, including the new type of dev environment, which is, as you know, with me, because I talk a lot with that for several months and years, is a UDE, Unified Dev Environment. And you will see that in my case, I will show you in demonstration using an UDE for my demonstration. So a good opportunity for you to see that, okay, with a quick UDE, Unified Dev Environment, I can deploy it through only Power Platform stuff, not LCS anymore, and I can try and use and testing my Fabric link directly into my UDE if I want to see quickly what I can use and choose. Okay, so of course, before going on, main part is of course to have a Fabric capacity. Okay, before talking about Fabric link, you need to have a Fabric capacity because of course, otherwise you can't do anything else. So for that, you have three options, as explained in my article. You have the first one, of course, is to buy the subscription from Microsoft. This one is quite maybe not the perfect option because from what I know, you have two options when you want to buy a subscription. As of now, in Microsoft Word, you have the CSP, Cloud Solution Provider. This one is quite good because you can have like a monthly engagement. So you can say that, okay, just for this month, I want a F464 capacity, and maybe the next month I want a F16. So you can reduce it, and buy month per month for that, or you can have a 1 year engagement. The cost, of course, sometimes CSP don't have a real capacity to, let's say, to have a large discount for you as a customer. Of course, you can, if you are a large customer, you can have, sometimes that's quite often the case now, is you have a direct contract with Microsoft, okay? Microsoft direct contract. They have a lot of names behind it, MCA, whatsoever. And for that, you can have 1 year, 3 years of engagement, and I'll have a good large discount for that, of course. But for that, you will be saying that, okay, I want 3 F64 capacities for 3 years. This is blocked in terms of price, but I'm not really flexible. I'm not really agile about changing the size of my Fabric capacity in the time. Okay. But that's an option, and that's sometimes the option you have, of course, with Dynamics. When you want to license for Dynamics Finance Operation, you buy it, of course, through a CSP or Microsoft directly. You don't have pay-as-you-go for Finance Operation. But the two other options we have, and I will use one of them, or maybe two, is a trial of core capacity, because sometimes, of course, when you want to use and try Fabric, you want to try it first before buying 5,000 per month. And another option, the last one, is using Azure pay-as-you-go, which is quite good for me because I will use one of this one, in fact, just after. I provisioned one pay-as-you-go Azure subscription. So it's my own Azure subscription. As you can see, I already created a Fabric capacity on my Azure consumption. And right now I'm using the F16. Okay. So of course it's per month, but I can really, since it's Azure, I pay it per hour. Okay. So as soon as I don't need it, I can just delete it, or even, which is a good thing, I can pause it at any time. So I don't pay it anymore after. So really good option for proof of concept. Because the trial capacity, you will see after, you can create it, but for several days and months, at some point they can just block you. And in this case, of course, I provision it, and I can change the size if I want to be, if I was in production. So very good for proof of concept. I would say that for real trial, like me checking how it works, okay, it's good, it's working fine, okay. Second step, I can use pay-as-you-go Azure, okay, and pause it just for my proof of concept with a real test environment. And when I am ready to go, okay, I can still use the Azure pay-as-you-go mode or buy a reserved Fabric capacity with my subscription with Microsoft directly through CSP or direct contract. Okay. So now I'm ready to go. I have my Fabric capacity. Okay, so I can create a workspace first, my Fabric workspaces. Okay, so for that I go to the Fabric portal here, of course, and I have workspaces, and I can create several one. Of course, I can create, I would say, one per environment, or if you like, you can have several workspaces per environment. So let's say I have three test environment of finance operation dynamics. I can link it to those three to the same workspace. My side, I will not really recommend that, even if I'm not a data platform expert. I would say that it's more usual to use end-to-end one Dataverse linked to one transformation instance always, and to one workspace, and to one or same capacity. I would say that really environment per workspace is a good best practice. After one workspace could be linked to several workspaces, sorry, could be linked to one global Fabric capacity. I don't know, I buy one global Fabric capacity, which is F64. We have enough, usage or memory, CPU, storage to include all of that to the same capacity. Of course, it's good because otherwise the cost could be high if I have to pay one capacity per workspace, per environment. So here I have created new one here. So I can create, maybe just to show you how to create a workspace. So I can create no workspace, and here I have a Fabric capacity. So as you can see, I see my Azure pay-as-you-go capacity I've created just before. So I have already the one Fabric Azure capacity just below, which has been already created. So as you can see, I can have multiple workspaces with one global mega capacity if I want. Okay. Of course, for production, I would say to have a dedicated one, it could be a good option, but to have one capacity for dev plus testing environment, all the same for them, that could be great. Well, so when it's created, you have like that. If maybe I can close all those things. Sorry, I forgot. Okay. So it's app.fabric.microsoft.com. I forgot at the beginning and to go to access the Fabric portal. It's not app.powerbi.com. Okay, it's fabric.microsoft.com. And yeah, if I wanted to have a trial workspaces, trial capacity, as you can see here, I am on Fabric trial workspace. So normally I have still the option, as you can see, I am on the trial. Of course, now it's hey, you need to buy at some point. No. But here, I think if I click on my very good face, I can, at some point, I think I can extend my trial. I don't know in which point of time when Microsoft will say, hey, guy, you still have extended 3 times in a row. Maybe it's time to pay. I put it in my article if you want how to request your trial if you need. You still need to have some kind of privileges or access with your tenant admin because I think maybe by default it's not really activated. So because otherwise any people on your tenant can request a trial, like in Power Platform. So maybe I think sometimes it's blocked by default. So my side, I'm the only one. I'm the global admin of my own tenant. So of course it's a big deal, but depending on which tenant you have and which access you have, you maybe need to ask your tenant or Fabric or data platform global admin to request a trial thing. But when it's good, if I go to Workspaces, I can create new, and as I explained before, and I can create a trial like this, okay? When it's a trial, I think maybe I can go to this one, which is a trial. You can go to the settings, workspace settings, and where is it? I don't remember. License, sorry. So it's a very, very small Fabric capacity just for trial. So as explained before, if you really want to, I would say, use it or try it with real proof of concept. Of course, it's not the good option. It's really for one people, one guy, just to, let's say like me, for you, for my article to explain how to set up it, but that's it, okay? But at the end, you can switch, if I'm not wrong, I can switch, okay, I can start from trial and, move it to my paid capacity at the end. So of course, in this case, I will not lose everything I have already set up it before in my trial, okay? But I will go to my Fabric one, which is linked to my Azure capacity I have created just before, okay? So I am ready to go to use this one. So it's, as I explained, it's F16 right now, and as I explained before, I can change the size at any time. But of course, I will not pick this one, which is quite huge. But at the end, I will explain also the monitoring, how to know which good SKU to use for my purpose. Okay. So now I am ready to go. So as explained before, I'm using a lot UDE, Unified Dev Environment, for FNO, for fans probation. So right now I have provisionally deployed UDE specifically just for you, for my demonstration. So of course, which is a good option, because after I can just erase this environment. So we maybe don't need it anymore. I have enough capacity, because this is the main fact, and the main purpose, and the main thing to know when you want to deploy a new unified dev environment. You need to have enough storage for that. Okay, but I am quite good for FNO, and as I explained, quite tight for Dataverse side. Okay. So Fabric is here, so I can go. So I'm using 10 since I created it today, which it's end of February 2025. I think deploy it in 10.042 version of fans progression, but even the 41, 40, 43, which is in preview 43, I think right now, but all of them will work fine with Fabric Link. You don't really need a specific version. Of course, as soon as you are close to the latest one, you have more options, more, of course, hotfixes, because Fabric Link is in GA for almost a year, I think. So, of course, it's quite still recent, I would say. So I will suggest to use the latest one we have right now at the moment. You will set up it. But yeah, I think if I go to you still have this error. I think it's a 42, and you will see after, which is very important. It's working fine for UDE, it's working fine for tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, all tier 2 instances you have in LCS, plus production instances, of course, hopefully. Yeah, now I am on 10.042, UDE, as explained before, but not cloud-hosted environment. The old past one, I would say now, old dev environment we had before in Azure, in IaaS, infrastructure as a service, in LCS, in cloud hosted environment. So those one will not work, okay, globally. So forgot. And you should really use UD at least right now, because it's also in general availability for almost a year, June last year, June 2024. So quite good now to use it in production for the day-to-day development, and even like me for training, demonstration, like this. So where I just need just few hours an environment and erase everything. And this one is already linked to a Dataverse, because I created through Power Platform Admin Center as usual. So no big deal, no technical requirement stuff, configuration to do. It's ready to go. It's like a tier 2 instance. I have one tier 2 instance in my tenant, and I don't have any production, but this one is a LCS tier 2 environment, as you can see, and linked to my fans progression as usual. So this one is my Dataverse linked and created through LCS. Okay. So if you want to set up it for any kind of tier 2, tier 3 production, you need, of course, to in LCS to activate the Power Platform integration, to have the Dataverse linked to it, and exactly the same configuration, the same setup requirements for Synapse Link for Dataverse, where you now need to have Dataverse globally, you need to have a Dataverse every time for FNO. It's, the convergence, it's mandatory every time now. Okay, so no question. So I have my environment, as you explained before. So I can go to the maker portal of Power Platform, like in Synapse Link, it's the same thing. And I can go to the new environment I've created just for this demonstration. So it's completely new, Contoso demonstration database, just created a few hours ago. And I can go not to Synapse Link here, because if I go to this part, I'm using, still the other option you still have and you can still use is, the Azure Synapse Link, which I've created a blog post in August 2023, so almost 2 years ago. So you can, of course, with Fanos Probation, you can use also this option. But here, if you go directly here to say, it's here where I can set up my Fabric link, no, this is not here. Okay, which is quite strange, I would say. But by default, when you create a new environment, you will see I will not have the option Microsoft OneLake, okay, for Fabric. Okay, wow, it's very long. Sorry about that. Maybe refresh. If he can load, it will be good. So I'm doing this demonstration in live, so it's recorded, but I can't do any more thing. Maybe I can go to so I will not wait, I don't have time. So the goal, how to set up it, you have to go to the portal here and to click Analyze, Link to Microsoft Fabric. It's here globally how to start to set up your Fabric link for your Dataverse. Again, a Dataverse linked to my Fanos Operation instance. So if I click to link, so here I will load a lot of things. So maybe when it's loading, I can open another tab. Maybe if I go again here, let's say letting him waiting and loading for a long time. Okay, so right now I'm good for the Fabric. And click signing. Okay, so here I'm creating the connection. Save connection. Okay, it's trying to connect. Wow, it's still running. Oh my god. Maybe I can show it here for another environment. Next, I go back to the Synapse Fabric, sorry. So now it will load and retrieve all my Fabric workspaces. Of course, I will use the one I have used and created through my Azure pay-as-you-go mode. And I can click create, and now I will wait a lot. So I will do other stuff in between. But now we will create, my workspace in Fabric, create my OneLake, my shortcut OneLake, initialize all tables, which is important to know, is it will globally push every Dataverse table, almost every Dataverse tables, which is quite huge because I think maybe we have only the 500 tables of Dataverse, something like that by default. Even if it's an empty one globally with Fanos Probation. And the main problem, as explained in my article at the end, right now, as of February 2025, we have a limitation about 1,000 tables to be exported. So as you can see, almost half of them are already done by Microsoft automatically to export every Dataverse tables, and you can't unselect them. Let's say, okay, I created my workspace, my shortcut, my OneLake, my lakehouse, everything has been set up but maybe the 500 Dataverse tables, I don't want it because maybe I just want to export only a Fanos Probation tables. So for that, you can't really unselect them after that, you will see, which I hope they will change because it's not very good, I think. Wow, it's very long. Let's refresh completely, maybe. So here is really creating everything. Okay, maybe they are deploying some stuff at the moment, which is often great when you do live demonstration. But in between, what I can show you is it's recreating. Okay. So normally, if I refresh my fabric, no, it's nothing yet. Okay. Perfect. So what is, I can explain in between because between is loading a lot. So OneLake, what is that? So OneLake will be globally your data lake, in your software as a service. So here you will have everything, all your data. That's it. All your data is on OneLake. It's already finished. Oh, that was quite fast. So normally I can go back. Yeah, I have my lakehouse, my fabric Azure capacity, linked to my environment, the dedicated one I've created just before. So if I go to Synapse Link normally, if it's loading like this, the same here, it will be complicated for you to show, but okay. So OneLake, as explained before, it will be all your data lake capacity, where you can have everything exported in Parquet files, so your lakehouse, right? Because it's the same thing as Synapse Link. When you set up Synapse Link for Dataverse for transportation, or even for CRM, Dataverse for platform, you select your table and that it will export it to an Azure Data Lake in your subscription. An Azure Apache Spark in Data Lake will convert all your CSV file to a Parquet file, okay, in which you have a lot of cost. It's here for the Azure Apache Spark. Here, you will push it to OneLake, and the Apache Spark, you don't see it because we are on a fabric, so it's software as a service. So you don't manage all stuff behind the scene, all the engine, I would say, and you just access and directly go to building your semantic model, building your pipeline in fabric, building your reports, of course, and that's it. Wow, I like that. Maybe I can. Come on, let's refresh. Because I really want to show you how to select tables, how to export new table in FNO, and blah, blah, blah. But if it's loading like that, it will be complex. But in the meantime, I can show you an existing one. So this one. So here, I have my lakehouse. Okay, so lakehouse in my fabric will be the place which I have all my tables. So as you can see, I have almost all Dataverse tables that have been pushed away, synced from my Dataverse to this fabric. But also, in this case, I think I have also created through several tables from ERP, from my funds relation system. So custable is, of course, a table for customer. Here, of course, I can just have a preview, like in Synapse, to see what are the data behind and what is like a preview of all my customer with all columns, of course. And I can click View File, and here I have a partition folders in which I have all my Parquet files. Okay. So the refresh time right now is almost 1 hour. So right now we can't really decrease the amount of time of refresh. So let's say I want to have a refresh every 15 minutes. Of course, in Synapse Link for Dataverse, you can set up something like this. Of course, the more refresh you want, the more the bill will be high, the invoice. So yeah, here, of course, you have a global capacity. So you pay already for that, and it's taking care of everything into one global capacity. So that's why, of course, the cost is quite not, let's say, high for capacity for Fabric, because it's the Fabric capacity that will do everything, really everything in for data platform, including your pipeline Synapse, including like if you want to build Python, machine learning AI stuff, training model, plus doing ad hoc query like this, refresh your data, doing the Apache Spark stuff to do the Delta Lake Parquet file conversion from CSV. Yeah, the Power BI reports that will access to your Fabric data platform lakehouse to, let's say, refresh all your Power BI reports. So yeah, That's why the cost is huge, because it's everything needed globally to work with that. Well, it will not refresh. Let's say maybe I can try to open it one more time. Sorry about that. Normally it works. Let's connect again. So as you can see, this is my famous dedicated email address. Okay. Perfect. Okay, maybe. Whoa. Okay. So I can go to the Fabric one, let's same one as before. And if I go to Synapse Link, loading. This time I have the loading, which I think it's a good, yeah. So reboot, as usual, or try another browser. As usual. So here it's my OneLake, as explained before. So that's the, the Dataverse one I've used just before. So normally now, I think I set up it like 5-10 minutes ago with you. So here, of course, I can unlink, relink again. Okay, so if I made a mistake and I linked my Dataverse to the wrong workspace of Fabric or capacity, I can change it. It's quite usual and used very often right now, because, of course, which is a kind of limitation right now. If, of course, so normally you will copy your file supervision instance from prod to UET, from prod to UDE, and in this case, problem is you will copy, now everything. So the Dataverse also with that, especially when you will say, I have a UDE like this one, this one I use right now, and let's say I want to copy my UET, the over tier 2, I have already my LCS. I will copy it, but it will copy Dataverse plus transformation in all in one place, and all in just one thing, and at one time. But with that, of course, it will copy configuration and the link. So I have a good example here. I think this one. I have another environment in which I have copied my UAT on that. And if I click here, no. Yeah, this one is linked to the over workspace of UAT. So, which is not good, because maybe I want. So sometimes right now, the copy refresh environment are not really very well supported for data ALM or ALM globally. So yeah, sometimes you will need to unlink, relink, and re-push everything, all the data from on your Fabric again. So yeah, not very ideal stuff, I think, for me. But so as you can see, no, that was not the good one. I can go to Fabric again. The Fabric one, so it's very fast now. Very fast. Very faster than the one in Google Chrome. So as you can see here, I have all my table currently exporting from my Dataverse, mainly because, as I explained, even if it's file supervision, globally linked instance, first of all, it will copy every Dataverse table row into my Fabric OneLake. Of course, what I will show you after is, of course, I can manage table. So here it's where you have to wait a lot globally. Good part for Dataverse is now the Fabric status is created. So what is that? Is when I will export a new table, of course, it will first export the real data, okay, the CSV plus after, of course, the Parquet in the OneLake, the conversion with the Apache Spark, like Synapse Link. But also it will create automatically the schema, the way to access really the table behind and to do SQL query on top of that. So, the endpoint, the SQL endpoint on Fabric. Otherwise, of course, I just have the file, but I don't have the way to, let's say, to do any query on top of that. We will see that for fast progression, which is, again, maybe will be a good improvement for Microsoft, is when we will select Manage Table, now you will, of course, refresh and retrieve all Dataverse table in my Dataverse. And of course, I will have a tab dedicated just for file exploration. Of course, this tab, finance operation, will appear only if I have a Dataverse really linked to a finance operation instance. Otherwise, I will have for CRM, CE, Power Platform people, you will have only Dataverse tab only. So this one is quite long, but yeah. Of course, as you can see, I can't really say, okay, just, please don't select. You can't. Way out. Okay, as explained before. So you can't say, I am a finance operation guy, I don't need Dataverse. You can't unselect. Right now, as you can see, now I go to the tab finance probation, because it's here where I wanted to highlight this demonstration, and it's mainly for finance probation. So now, of course, you will retrieve all the tables we have in finance probation, but not all of them. As you can see, we have 3,200 almost. But of course, we have more normally. We are mostly at 10,000, something like that, tables in the ERP and first operation. So why I just have that? It's exactly the same thing as the Synapse Link. You need to have the change tracking in AOT in the table. In the table data property. So by default, Microsoft have created and released most of them, but the main one, I would say. Of course, if you don't have and you don't see it, you just need to ask a developer to do an extension in X++ in the table property to activate the change tracking, to deploy it to the instance, and after you can select the table on that. So let's say I want the case table. No, I would say select table. Okay, select table. It's here. I can save, and that's it. So very simple, as you have seen. I have created my workspace capacity in just a few minutes, 1 minute almost. I have already my capacity of Fabric already bought by Azure, but of course it's possible to use it also with Fabric. It's a UD, so my environment has been provisioned in 1 hour through Power Platform, only completely freely, because I had enough storage for that. So all the way you can try Fabric Link all the way freely, I would say, with UDE. As soon as you have enough storage, you can also create your workspace in free mode with Fabric and try it yourself, and that's it. And try after Fabric for that. So normally, now it's refreshing, but after, you just really it's very fast to set up it and to use it. After you need a coffee like me to when you are waiting the initial sync in progress. So what you will do right now with the initial sync, you will also for transformation create some indexes into the database. So if at some point you have a kind of error saying that you can't have Microsoft can't really create new indexes right now, is because the data as a platform in finance operation is currently using it and a lot the performance side. So of course I will recommend it, even especially for production, to set up Fabric Link during non-business hour. That's the main thing. Also to set up it at a point in which let's say I will set up it at 2 p.m. because I want to refresh every hour, mostly like something like that. So the refresh will be done at 2, 3, 4, 5. So you will see those stuff like this. And the good part, of course, it will be after in real time, not real time because it's every hour, but the synchronization will be done automatically for you. So you don't really take care of if it's working well or not. The good part of that is all those things we see right now on this screen, all those technical tables are stored into Dataverse. So if you want, you can set up every kind of automate alerting purpose where I want to receive an alert when a sync status is in error or whatsoever. You can make exactly the same thing for Synapse Link. Synapse Link, same thing. You have a Synapse Link profile. Synapse Link profile you can put into a solution to, let's say, also to deliver it from dev test prod, so that you avoid to reselect every tables at each new environment. Same thing for Fabric right now. You can see what's going on behind the scene and track telemetries, monitoring, all those stuff. So if I go to it was set stable. As you can see, it has been queued. So now I have to wait. I will not wait with you, but it's how it works globally at the end, as you can see. So just need to select that, and that's it. So very simple, globally. But maybe at the end I will go back again to see if it was working well or not. Normally, I hope so. So here I go back to Fabric. The ones that I've already created where I have some data because I don't want to wait with you. So here I am on the lakehouse part, okay, as you can see, because here, lakehouse. So as I explained, it was possible to see the files behind the Parquet file I converted, but also I have the SQL endpoint. Here I have, like in Synapse Analytics, like a Synapse Link, I have a portal, dedicated web portal, where I can just do some ad hoc queries whenever I want. Of course, it's not the perfect way because here you are using web browser, so it's the same thing as the Synapse Link, the Synapse portal, the web.azuresynapse.com. Here I would suggest more go to Synapse, SQL Server Management Studio. For that, you have the settings here, and you have the directly SQL endpoint here. So here, if you go to that, you can go just right away and access it through SSMS, and we're using the Azure Entry ID, your MFA, etc. Of course, for that you will need somehow to give some access. As you can see on the endpoint, you need to give access to your workspace, settings, reader, owner, all the Fabric security part, which is important, of course, because these people can access to this workspace, not this one. He has reader, he has owner, security role, blah, blah, blah. Or he can just query, or he has access only to the SQL endpoint, not the lakehouse. You can set up everything for that. And you can build directly from there, your report on the portal, on the web browser, or the semantic model, etc. All the data platform stuff. And of course, you can go to Power BI Desktop and use the OneLake catalog and go connect directly to your lakehouse and start to build your reports. Save it, publish it to your Fabric capacity, and share it to the end user. The same thing as Power BI globally. But here, like, I don't know, 5 minutes of setup, I just have all my data in the right way because it's Parquet, it's Fabric. And again, if I like, I can go and start using pipeline because in Fabric, you have, as explained before, all the stuff needed to do anything needed more than just reports. Just Power BI is just one part of Fabric. After you have everything you need, lakehouse, data, Fabric database now, I think. You have pipeline like in Azure Data Factory or Synapse. So here the source could be, of course, my capacity, my Fabric capacity, my Fabric workspace, in which I will retrieve all the tables, the same one I used maybe for Power BI reports. And here maybe I want to build a quick pipeline like ETL, ELT. I want to build like an integration, like an interface, an output interface, saying that every hour I want to export my event table format without using the DMF of inspiration or whatsoever, and to have it in one place, all the data platform interfaces in one place, so Fabric here. And I say in which I don't remember, just table. So I want all the customers, and destination could be all the endpoint we have with Power Query, the same one we have in fact in Synapse or Data Factory globally. So here I can build. I have the same kind of Salesforce. So if I wanted, as you can see, to push my customer from Inspiration to Salesforce, it's a possibility globally using the Fabric. So all in one place, or an FTP or Snowflake or whatsoever. And very important, of course, in Fabric, you can use a OneLake to retrieve some data you have in another data platform like AWS. or GCP or whatsoever. So you can have a global cluster, I would say global lake, where you put everything into your fabric globally. Even if you have, I don't know, in US you are using AWS, in Azure APAC you are using more Snowflake, and in Europe, EMEA, you are using Fabric as a whole. You can, retrieve all those information, OneLake, Fabric, and start building a global report for the whole company. That's an option. That's it. Maybe if I go back to finish, I can go back. No, sorry. Yes, do that. Sorry. So maybe I don't know if it's already finished or not. I don't think so, because as explained before, the first installation will be very long, just the very first setup, because it will always export all the 500 database tables. And after that, when all database tables are well synced, you can have more flexibility or more agile to add new table like FNO table, like me, sales table, but initial sync still going on, and then maybe these are still adding. Okay, so I guess we'll have to wait. But that's it, I think. If I'm not wrong, I will just check one more thing before just checking if I summarize everything, but I guess so, normally. Because I demonstrate how to set API, configure it, blah, blah, blah. I forgot, sorry. Yeah, you can use, of course, data entities. That entities of FNO, transportation, could be virtual entity into Dataverse. And the same thing as Synapse Link, you just need to activate, the change trench tracking like this. So if I zoom it again, sorry. Yeah. So here I have activated customers v3, the data entities, and I can just track changes, and after I can pick. Of course, I need to pick it from Dataverse because the virtual entity is on the Dataverse thing, not transportation, and that's it. After you just, as you can see by default, when it's finished, you will have not created here, as explained before. So you will need to click on refresh Fabric tables in order to see it and to go to created in Fabric in order to query your table. Otherwise, the files are there. The file that has been exported and used in a Parquet file in OneLake, but you don't have it in the SQL endpoint. Okay. So yeah, you can use Fabric with data entities of, I will be more using that tables my side as usual, because that entities, be careful. Sometimes you have a lot of join, outer join, query range. You have a lot of data sources with relationships already, which is good because it's helping a lot, because in this way you don't need to rebuild every relationship into your data platform. But on my side, I will be more using export every row and table, not every table, but main tables, every row, not relationship. I build my semantic model directly in Fabric. My semantic model for supply, for finance, for HR, blah, blah, blah. All those semantic model I can share after that for people building it that have these. So as you can see, I can say I have my data engineer working on the semantic model side, on the Fabric part, Plus after I have Power BI expert just for the data visualization. So of course I demonstrate all those stuff. Yes. Yes. So right now also, which is another option, good to know, but it's in preview right now in February 2025. You can, with that, use virtual table with Fabric. So Fabric data globally. So you can build, of course, good way with ALM DevOps, and don't do it directly into the environment, and do it in a solution in order to do ALM DevOps integration pipeline from dev test prod. So here, as you can see, I am on the solution where I have create table, virtual table. I choose my workspace of Fabric, and I can see the one table, the ones that I have exported, in fact, from transportation. So it's possible to say. Same thing for, I would say, I have my OneLake with, as explained before, my Snowflake data, my AWS data, my transformation, everything into Fabric, everything into OneLake. I can build all my Power Apps directly with virtual table with all my Fabric stuff, and it's bidirectional. And when you set up it, as you can see, you can choose which column names, which columns you want globally with your virtual table, which is not possible by default for transformation. As you know, when you activate a new data entity as a virtual table into your Dataverse, is there you have every column by default. And as explained before, in Fabric, you have pipeline, copy job, data flow, a notebook, a Spark job definition. You have everything we had and we still have in Azure Synapse at the end, or in several Azure resources, because sometimes you need this kind of thing, you need this kind of Azure resources. For another purpose, you need this kind of Azure resources. Here, you are in Fabric, all in one place, all in one portal. Something I explained before, and that's it. So the limitation consideration, I think I already explained it before. Of course, I will suggest more going to the Viva Engage group. You have a dedicated group in the Yammer with transformation people. If you want to have a question, feedbacks, and so on, with the product group about Fabric Link with transformation. And you have, as explained before, you have Fabric app monitoring. So this is this one. So you can deploy it. It's completely free, and it's the case in which you want to say what is my compute, my usage globally, to have monitoring and to say which at some point I really need a F16, 40, whatsoever, So in this case, I'm not the right expert to say, oh, for you need a F64. I'm sure. So yeah, for that you need a more expert from a data platform expert that we say, okay, now with Fabric. But I think again, yes, there are a lot of article, blog, session, events about Fabric. So when you will be ready to go and to switch to that, of course, I will suggesting, of course, to learn about it, because again, it's a new platform, so which is good. You have a large community, maybe larger than the BizApps community, which is a shame, but data platform MVP, you have a lot of data platform MVP and community behind. So you can have a lot of things to learn with them, to know which capacity you need for your purpose. But that's it globally. I think I have finished. Yeah, maybe 1 hour, yeah, as usual. I thought it would be a small one, like 30 minutes, but as usual with me, it's always 1 hour. But yeah, hopefully you have learned a lot and you like this content. So I think maybe the next one I will work with will be archiving, because I've done a lot of sessions last year about archiving. And in fact, to retrieve all archiving data from FNO it's a good way is using Fabric. Fabric is also could be using with BPA, Business Performance Analytics, the new kind of management reporter of transformation. And maybe at the end also we'll do some Copilot AI stuff with Q&A, so that now you can, I don't know if you have noticed it, but in public preview you can now using Copilot Studio to ask anything with your virtual entity. Once again, with me, virtual entity. As you can see, you are using a lot this thing globally now. Your virtual entity, you can build a Copilot Studio to ask anything, your data on ERP without doing anything. So you're using the ALM, OpenAI stuff. So what is my customer balance of this customer, and that's it. You don't need to build like a poor automate with poor virtual agent like we used to do in 2020 to ask and call your API of transpiration to grab the data from the data entity, and to, let's say, to build an agent very with just few answer he can a few questions he can answer. Now you give to the agent the data you had, and that's it. But yeah, that's for another story, another time. So yeah, for Fabric, I guess this is it. And yeah, I have a wonderful days, night, and also my next event will be in US, yes, in Chicago in May. DynamicsCon and Dynamics Mind, of course, as usual, 3 years in a row. Dynamics Mind in the most important event in Europe for Dynamics and Power Platform at the end of May in Slovenia, Porto. For those who knows, I will highly suggest to go to this event. Yeah. So maybe we will meet, and yeah, and maybe we will ask anything about Fabric if needed. Yeah. So see you.